Good Wednesday morning, everyone, and welcome to KSAT News Now. It's Hump Day.
Ooh, I love the energy, RJ. Thank you.
That's it. David, do you want to chime in on this? Hump Day?
Do it.
Oh.
You need to just be prepared on Wednesdays at 11.
Yeah.
Be ready to announce Hump Day for everyone.
We need the sounder, the David Sears sounder to come up here.
And then I just need, after he does the Hump Day, we need a thing that goes burr, 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 burr.
Yeah, there we go. The air horn.
Yeah.
Oh, he's walking
He's
over
coming.
here. I don't know if that means that he's going to grace us with his presence right now. David was with us yesterday, filling in, and look at him. He's walking in.
You what?
You can see him on our overhead shot here.
Okay, come on.
Ready?
Ready?
3, 2, 1. Let's do it all together.
Okay,
Okay.
let's do it. Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Hump Day!
We got it. Perfect.
Wow.
Robert, how do the kids say it? Coming in clutch.
Yeah, there we go. Wow. Okay, what a start here. We are streaming and podcasting, of course, every day on KSAT.com, KSAT Plus. And so make sure to hit us with the like, rate, and subscribe also anywhere that you get your podcasts.
Yes, of course. And we do have a lot to get into today, including more details on the deaths and kidnapping of 4 Americans across the border. And of course, with spring break coming up locally, some valuable information if you plan to travel, maybe to Mexico or out of the country in general.
Yeah, definitely some important information there. Plus, it's happening. Yes, a theme park dedicated to a global cartoon icon. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Okay.
Should we give it away or save it?
No, let's save it because I know nothing about this cartoon.
What?
So maybe you can help me out with this one.
Okay. Yeah, I will.
Yes.
I will.
That was almost like kind of tongue-in-cheek there. I read this is a global cartoon icon. I've heard of this character, but you're gonna have to let me know.
The
if
whole
that's really...
family in this particular cartoon is, I have to say.
Okay. Okay, but first of all, we start with some local news here. Of course, we've been following this story for more than a couple of weeks now. We're learning more about how many times San Antonio police were called to that West Side home where 2 dogs killed a man last month.
Yeah, so over a 2-year span, SAPD officers were called to the home on Deplis Street 112 times. As far as what officers were called for, it's a long list. 2 of the calls were for animal-related calls, 7 were for shots fired, 1 involved child protective services, 5 were for a wanted person.
Yeah, that's a long range of things there. So a large number of those calls were for disturbances, and there were 18 reports for that, and then another 21 were made for disturbances with loud music, 4 calls with disturbances dealing with guns, and then 14 for disturbances that had to do with fireworks. So I mean, we're going off, a wide range of things here that there were calls for.
Yeah, so Christian Moreno and Abilene Schneider lived at the home with the 2 dogs who mauled 81-year-old Ramon Najera to death. 3 others were attacked by the dogs, but they did survive. Now, neighbors told KSAT the neighborhood was peaceful until the couple moved in.
That's right. So the couple's 3 dogs euthanized, of course, after that attack. Moreno and Schneider are currently awaiting indictment in the Bexar County Jail, and they are each facing a charge of injury to an elderly and dangerous dog attack causing death. So I think this is just another highlight here, a glimpse to see basically how these neighbors were under this sort of situation here for some time, and just the amount of calls that were made to try and get something done here.
Yeah, and I mean, 112 calls, it's just mind-blowing to me, actually. If you think about, some people never have police called to their house. So 112 calls is crazy. We have the full list that you can look at yourself, better on KSAT.com.
Yeah.
And if I'm remembering correctly, these were from March 2021 to March of this year. So
Right.
definitely a lot of calls. And like we said, they are awaiting indictment, and we'll just continue following this story.
Yeah, and actually, Councilwoman Terry Castillo, if you go to our website, some neighbors said that they had delivered a letter to the councilwoman about some of the issues here with these dog owners and the dogs themselves. And Councilwoman Castillo said she didn't get the letter, but that she has been in communication with neighbors there to try and figure out how this all sort of happened. And of course, something that we're continuing to kind of follow up on and work on as this story just continues to get, more information as we move along.
Yeah, I think one question that's come up is what, as far as the city goes, like how involved can they get when there's this type of house with this many calls from SAPD, for SAPD actually, And that's a question that we are waiting to figure out the answers to. What can the city do, if anything at all? So
Yeah, and also, this is an opportunity here to say that we have received a lot of emails, so with questions about that. So if you feel like you have a question, go ahead and email us, and we will try and get some of that stuff answered for you, especially with a case like this. Okay, moving on, Priscilla, this morning. So new details here emerging after that terrifying kidnapping and shooting in Mexico. One of the survivors that was kidnapped at the border in Matamoros said that he was shot 3 times in the legs.
Eric Williams spoke with his wife on the phone as he was being transported to a hospital here in Texas. Williams is one of 2 Americans who survived the kidnapping on Friday in Matamoros, and 2 others, they were killed in the incident, which investigators believe was a case of mistaken identity.
Yeah, this is another situation here that continues to unfold. So Michelle Williams, this is Eric Williams' wife, said that she was just glad to hear her husband's voice on the phone, and that her husband told her that he is expected to walk again. So some other details here. The 4 were held captive for days in a remote region off the Gulf Coast before they were rescued from a wooden shack.
Their minivan crashed and was fired on shortly after they crossed into Matamoros as drug cartels tore through the streets. The group of friends actually traveled from South Carolina, so one of them could undergo a medical procedure, but investigators believe a Mexican cartel likely mistook them for Haitian drug smugglers.
Yeah, and we've seen this video now, if you're watching us on our visual platforms here, showing a little bit of the aftermath there of when this happened, or the SUV. There's also reports of another woman that was shot, not related to this group here, but another, I believe she was a Mexican national who was shot and killed during this crossfire as well. So just a lot of scary stuff all the way around.
Yeah, and I mean, glad that that one person, is going to be able to walk again. It's not something that you would imagine getting caught up in, but that's the thing is, even with spring break coming about, since we've been covering, this kidnapping, and we just want to say that you might want to reconsider your spring break plans if you're looking to visit the country. So on March 3rd, we saw the kidnapping video of the 4 Americans that we were just talking about and we just showed you. And then on February 24th, 3 women from Benitez in the Rio Grande Valley also crossed into Mexico, and they still have not been found.
Yeah, so this is now kind of moving on from that story there. So the local police, they reported that their disappearance, this women's disappearance, they reported to the FBI, but yet we have not received any updates on this. But again, experts here are saying just be a smart traveler if you go out, and watch out for what areas are crime hotspots.
Yes, so you can actually look that up online.
Yeah.
But yeah, the one thing I wanted to mention too is that you don't have to actually be going out of the country with intention. So a lot of teens, a lot of young adults go to, spring break in South Padre Island.
Yeah.
And sometimes they end up crossing in either for fun, or they're just trying to, how teens can be, right? They're just trying to explore, but but it's very, very dangerous. So we just want you to be smart if you're going to go, and watch out for those crime hotspots like we mentioned.
Yeah, and again, we have a link to the State Department's travel advisories on KSAT.com, and some ones here real quick. The state of Tamaulipas, that is where, of course, those 4 Americans were kidnapped, is on the do not travel list right now, and Nuevo Leon, which is where those other 3 women disappeared, is labeled as increased caution. But one thing from this story that I heard yesterday was that this expert from Trinity also said that if you are planning to travel into other parts of Mexico, like Cancun, some of the more touristy, more visited areas, then you should be okay to go. He didn't say like it would be, just
Considered
don't completely
dangerous,
like change up all your plans
Well,
or do something like that.
I've never been, but I've always heard, just in general, even without these 2 recent stories that we've been talking about, if you're going and you're going to be on these resort, parts of the country, stay there.
Yeah.
Don't veer off. Don't try and go anywhere by yourself where you may not be familiar with the area. That's kind of what I've heard from people who have actually gone, and people who have family that live over there as well.
Yeah, definitely. And what you were bringing up, you brought up a good point. I went to spring break when I was in college, and we went to Mexico all the time. So it is something that a lot of people do. And so in this case, obviously, case of mistaken identity. don't know really what's going on with the women that were taken there. But yeah, this is something to definitely always kind of be careful about.
Yes. So you mentioned spring break. We're
yeah.
going to switch gears a little bit and talk about something that's coming up as well. So South by Southwest starts this weekend.
Yeah.
And for those for those of you who don't know, it's an international conference highlighting movies, music, art, and anything involving creative innovation.
Yeah, basically Austin's going to get even more crazier than what it usually is, more packed. So this starts on March the 10th, and so a couple of days from now, and runs to the 19th. And right now on KSAT.com, we have a website that links all the stuff that we're going to be talking about. Let's give you a quick rundown here. We're talking about how to get your badges, very important stuff here, how to register, and how to choose between all of these different experiences, from music to film to all the tech stuff. So just a lot going out there up the road.
Yes, there's also an online pass if you want to watch the conference from home. You can get discounts for the badges if you're a student, but you must fill out their application while showing proof of enrollment. And RJ, you're actually going to be there giving us some coverage of what's going on, right?
Yeah, really excited about this opportunity. Myself and our social media EP here, Andrew Wilson, going to be traveling up there this weekend to basically do a bunch of stories from Austin, from South by Southwest, and really kind of giving it a local feel as well. So we're going to be talking with a San Antonio group that's going to be performing up there, the music side of things. Also going to talk to a film director, so who's from San Antonio, born and raised here, and he's going to have a movie there as well during the week. So he's going to be doing a Q&A. Really excited to get to meet everyone that's going to be up there, and I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm so excited. This isn't your first time going,
No,
right?
this will be my first time.
Oh,
yes.
it is?
How
Yes,
awesome.
first time going ever. I have no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
No idea what's going on. Shout out to Andrew Wilson. He made our whole itinerary.
Y'all are gonna have a great
Andrew.
time. I've never been,
Yeah.
but I do remember it was like junior or senior year of college. My friends and I, we went to Lake Tahoe for spring break to go
Nice.
skiing.
Yeah.
And I remember we got to Bergstrom that first weekend, and the airport was so incredibly packed.
Yeah.
Like the security line was hours long. And thankfully we had gotten there early enough, but I was like, why are there so many people at the airport? And then they're like, oh, we're here for South by
Yes.
Southwest. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that actually makes total sense. Apparently it's a big deal.
It's a big deal, and I know that it causes even more traffic issues,
Yeah.
and Uber and stuff is all tied up.
Very congested.
Yes, so I was hoping, I know last year I believe Andy Cohen, I don't know if any of you guys watch Bravo, but he did some shows from there. I was looking for it on this
Yeah.
year. I didn't see anything.
No,
So
Okay.
nothing with Andy
Anyway,
Cohen. Yes,
well,
I do know.
Very much looking forward
Yes.
to all of the fun
Yes.
shenanigans that
Yeah.
you guys are able
There
to
we
get
go.
into
Yeah,
there
good
this
times
weekend.
here.
All right, let's jump in to the weather. First of all, just the pollen count, because I woke up this morning, itchy eyes, a little bit of a sniffly nose. That is likely due to the elevated oak that we have in place. It's in the high category today. It is very much oak season. You can see we do have some of that tree pollen in place. Hackberry is moderate. Molds, mulberry, and ash are low. But if you are typically affected by oak, you likely were able to see some of those issues out there earlier this morning waking up. Have some low-level cloud cover in place right now. Temperatures in the muggy mid-70s here in San Antonio. A dew point of 64, so that moisture is definitely in place. And really, throughout the remainder of the day, it's going to look very similar to what the past couple of days have looked like. We start off the morning with some of that low-level cloud cover. We see some peaks of sunshine into the afternoon, and once again, afternoon highs are expected to climb well above average for this time of year into the mid-80s here in San Antonio, with the southeast wind on hand at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. Now, going forward, the forecast is a little tricky in some areas, especially as we get into this weekend. So while we're pretty quiet here in San Antonio, just do have some of that cloud cover in place. Just off to the north, we've got a stalled boundary that's kind of just bisecting portions of the Lone Star State. And really, we're expecting for the most part that boundary to stay north of the area, but sometime later today and tonight, it's possible it's able to dip its toes into the far northern reaches of our viewing area, portions of the hill country closer to Austin. Maybe that would mean some slightly drier and slightly cooler air trying to mix in, but for most of us, that front doesn't look to push into south central Texas until Friday morning, early Friday morning. So still tomorrow morning, the game plan as of right now is still to wake up to some additional low-level clouds, maybe a little bit of fog, just another muggy start to the day. Once again, seeing a few more peaks of sunshine Thursday afternoon. Highs headed for the 80s. Then as we head into Thursday night, that front is going to start to approach from the north. Maybe we find a couple showers to an isolated storm into the early morning hours of our Friday. I think better chances for that is going to be farther up to our northeast. But then throughout the day on Friday, that's when we start to see that front push in. Cooler and drier air is going to move in its wake, so temperatures are in the mid-70s for daytime highs, and then we drop down to about 60 into early Saturday morning, but then changes quickly move in. We see south winds take back over into Saturday. Moisture is going to quickly move in as well, so some more morning fog and cloud cover will be possible there. Highs already reaching for about 80 degrees. Then we spring those clocks forward into early Sunday. Don't forget about that. And then that's when we're expecting our next front to move in. Sometime Sunday night and into early Monday. Windy conditions there, and then really some cooler and drier air moves in there as well, with temperatures then dropping into the upper 40s, low 50s, and then highs a little bit closer to where we should be for this time of year in the low 70s by early next week for any of those spring break plans that you may have out and about, guys.
So Mia, I have a question about the pollen count.
Yes.
The mold combined with the oak is really bad for me, so will the mold kind of be going away eventually?
Well,
or?
so molds typically, they can spike with rain too.
Yes, that's what's causing.
So, you know, we don't have any widespread chances
Right.
for rain over the next few days, but we'll see if we can cash into a couple showers, maybe a storm with that front early Friday, and see what the mold count does there.
Okay.
But oak season, I mean, that typically lasts through early May.
Yeah.
So that's going to be with us for a
Yeah.
little while.
I have a question.
Yes.
All the questions
What's
today.
that?
I know this is Q&A with Mia right now. So with the wind here,
Yep.
does that mean that oak spikes even higher because does all this stuff
early
get thrown around the air?
So I mean,
Another way of putting
very
it.
very possible, right? Because that wind can
Yeah.
kind of shake up some of that oak pollen, kind of like what we see with mountain cedar season
Yeah,
2.
that's true.
When we get those cold fronts move in, especially in the hill country, those winds just loft it all into the air. It is possible.
Yeah.
So we'll
Okay.
see what early next week brings, with especially after that second front moves in.
Okay.
Thank
good
you,
stuff
Mia.
here.
You
Yeah,
bet.
thank you very much, Mia.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
My
Okay.
husband's car already had the yellow.
Oh no!
We have an oak
yeah,
tree out
that's a
front,
big
so-
thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
First we had like that weird, like what do they call it? Like that mud rain
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
that came in.
Yes.
That yeah,
But-
messed up a bunch of cars, and now that like
And that
yellowish,
dusty, yeah, no bueno, no bueno. But we are going to talk to something that is bueno, talk about something that's bueno. A Peppa Pig theme park is coming to Texas next year, and it's scheduled to open early 2024 in the North Richland Hills area near Fort Worth. RJ, you're learning about Peppa
I'm
Pig.
learning a lot about Peppa Pig. I didn't even know she was British, and I'm gonna say Robert, our producer here, asked to do this in some sort of British accent. So here we go. It'll be the second Peppa Pig park.
Don't
in the
do it,
US.
no.
Okay, everyone's telling me no. Never mind. I'm not gonna do that.
Yes,
Okay.
so details for the ride haven't been announced yet, but it could have similar ones to what Florida has, like a Daddy Pig, roller coaster, pirate
Sure.
boat, ride, and muddy puddle splash pad. The park will be geared towards families with preschool kids. And
right.
if you don't know RJ, now you know Peppa Pig. And then they go oink, oink. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. This part kind of got my attention. Families will meet Peppa and her friends as they snort, giggle, and play to build their first theme park memories.
There you go.
together.
That snort is iconic.
Sounds like a great.
It's the snort heard around the world.
Sounds like a great weekend. Okay, well, sorry for that horrible accent.
I'm not even going to try because
you know what? I do what I gotta do for the team here.
I was just telling him before we go, there
There we
is
go.
a TikTok of a mom who was trying to make other moms feel better. She was like, if you think you're doing a bad job, look at my daughter. So her daughter watches so much Peppa Pig that she actually talks in a British accent, and they're American. So yeah.
Okay. We'll have to check that out. Okay, but for now, our time here has come to an end.
Yep.
Thank you very much for hanging out with us on KSAT News Now.
Thanks, Peppa.
Yeah, Peppa Pig.
We'll see you tomorrow at 11.
Thank you.